Hey everyone, Brandon Putsky here with Treasure Coast Percussion. If you're submitting assignments to your band director, this is video number 4, covering flams and drags. This short tutorial, however, can be used by anyone and adapted to your strengths and abilities. Be sure to check out the previous 3 videos on single strokes with accents, and paradiddles. And also be sure to check out the Vic Firth videos by Dr. John Wooten, who gives a great tutorial on all the rudiments. You can access those through either vicfirth.com or YouTube. Flams and drags. They are rudiment number 20 and number 31 of the 40 standard rudiments and are the first rudiments in their categories. That's because they are the most basic of those groups of rudiments and use similar techniques, so we can combine them in the same lesson. Now, don't confuse basic with easy. They are basic because a single flam and a single drag is the foundation for the other flam and drag rudiments, but they aren't always easy. In fact, they are one of the most inconsistently played rudiments of the 40. Let's do a quick breakdown of these rudiments and I'll show you what I mean. There's 2 ways to play these rudiments. All right flams, where the right hand is the primary note, playing a continuous rebound stroke. Or all left flams, where the left hand is the primary note. The grace note then is just a small tap, or a pianissimo rebound stroke. It's a very relaxed stroke that simply drops to the drum just before the primary note, giving that flam the fuller, fatter sound it needs. Here are some consecutive right-hand flams played open, closed, open, or slow, fast, slow. Now some left-hand flams played the same way. So as you can see, the strokes used for playing all one-handed flams are simply rebound strokes played at 2 contrasting stick heights. Therefore, a bit easier to control and maintain a smoother, consistent sound. Almost all the flams I play, especially in a concert or a classical setting, would be same hand flams, all rights or all lefts, because they're just more consistent. However, alternating flams are equally important but require a bit different technique and stroke. Let's break down the alternated or hand-to-hand flam. Remember, when you break down a rudiment, you're simply separating your hands so you can see and hear exactly what each hand is doing and what type of technique or stroke is being utilized. Do you remember the names of these 2 strokes? If you said controlled stroke and upstroke, you are correct. If you watched my previous lesson on paradiddles, you would also know about Zombieland. That's that area between the small taps and the accents where the beat of your stick may end up and where your brain gets really confused. Remember, keep your controlled strokes as low as possible by trapping the stick immediately after you strike the drum so it's perfectly in place to play the grace note on the next flam. Play the alternated flams extremely slow in the beginning stages. Use a metronome to help develop your internal pulse and to keep your rhythm smooth and steady. 60 BPM is usually a good starting point. Even slower if you need to. Your muscles and brain need lots of repetitions at the same slow tempo to really establish consistency. Bump up the metronome 3 to 5 clicks at a time and really focus on those 2 strokes. Watch your hands and sticks while you're playing and look for differences and irregularities. Fix those issues before speeding up. As mentioned in my previous lesson on paradiddles, you can also practice flams and drags or any other rudiment using accents by using the Molar Technique. A smooth, fluid upstroke can be achieved by bending your wrist upwards, aiming the bead of the stick toward the drum. As you lift the stick, the bead will drop to the drum, striking it on the way back to the primary or accented notes. Here are a few alternated flams using the molar upstroke. Pay close attention to the wrist and the downward angle of the stick and bead. All right, let's move on to rudiment number 31, the drag. The drag has an additional note added to the grace note, otherwise known as a diddle. It has almost the same technique as the flam with the exception of a slight squeeze with the thumb and the first 2 fingers. The amount of squeeze will determine if those diddles will sound open or closed. A tight squeeze will give a closed, almost buzz sound, while a loose grip will give a much more open sound. The placement of the grace note in the flam, or the diddles with the drag, can also be a factor in your playing. That's what we call interpretation. Here's a few examples of flams and drags with different interpretations. Those examples could very well be correct as long as they are played consistently within a given piece of music. Your job as a musician is to do your homework. Research the piece of music, the composer, the era or style it was written in, and figure out what interpretation is best for that piece. Also keep in mind that flams played on timpani or marimba will probably be much more open than on a snare drum. And drags on a rudimental snare drum piece will probably be interpreted differently than on a concert or classical snare drum piece. I encourage you to listen to many professional recordings of the piece, ask your private instructor or band director, or look up the composer and send them an email. Learn everything you can about the piece of music you're playing so that you can interpret it the way the composer intended. If you're recording flams and drags for a video assignment or audition, you'll want to play each rudiment separately as open, closed, open, or slow, fast, slow. Remember, speed is not as important as technique, sound quality, and consistency. Go only as fast as you are able while maintaining a smooth, consistent sound. You may want to play them both on one hand and alternate them to demonstrate both techniques. Once again, this is Brandon Putsky with Treasure Coast Percussion. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.